Nice to be here at the Berlin Dance Music Event 2025, especially on behalf of such an important issue, which is mental health, which luckily has become more and more a topic of focus in the scene, but still we all know it's an industry that profits a lot of our positivity, our entertainment, and constant highs, so it's still not an environment where we can talk openly about everything. And that's why I feel very lucky to be accompanied today by these three amazing electronic music artists who are willing to share a little bit about themselves and about their experiences in the industry so we can be proactive in making this sort of discussion more normal. I'm gonna just introduce myself real quick. My name is Fabian. Some of you may know me as a DJ producer, Fab Massimo, and I'm also a medical doctor, so I'm currently immersed in these two worlds, music and medicine, and I've made up my mind to unite them by raising awareness about mental health in the scene, giving workshops at festivals, and I've also worked with the Mental Rave Network, which is an initiative in Berlin that provides free group therapy to people working in the nightlife. All right, then let's dive in. I think we should start with the introductory round. I think you are a pretty well-known artist in the German music scene, also internationally, but let's just introduce ourselves, give us your name, who you are, and how you're feeling today.
Should I start?
You can start.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Jacob, also known as Wankelmut. And I've been busy in the music industry, or let's say like touring, DJing, producing, and nightlife for about 15 years now. And yeah, I'm very happy to be here and to talk about this subject. And yeah, I'm feeling good, but also a bit stressed because I had to manage 2 kids and a family life to get here.
And a special thanks that you could made it.
No worries.
Yeah, I'm Laura. As known as LOVRA, and I live here in Berlin. I'm DJ and producer, and yeah, I'm also very happy to be a part of it today, because I'm touring around the globe, and yeah, so it's sometimes tough to be just 2 nights in a month in Berlin.
Thank you, welcome.
Hi everyone, I'm Claudio, better known as Mausio. I'm a DJ and producer, and I'm very happy to be here and talk about such an important topic, and I'm feeling very good, a little bit nervous. It's my first time to talk like in a panel in front of people, especially in English, so yeah, that's not my, I'm not a native speaker, so please be gentle with me when I don't know how to say things. Right, but yeah, I'm very happy to be here and talk about such an important topic.
Awesome, thank you. And you're not the only one that's nervous, and I think we have a crew that's very forgiving and understanding, so. All right, let's dive right in. Jacob, I want to start with you, because you had a very, very interesting sort of career path. You gained international recognition with your remix One Day in 2012. And you yourself said that this remix carried most of your career, got you gigs in a very short amount of time. And I'm sure you've been asked about this many times, about this track. But how many tracks did you produce before you produced that one? Was it?
It was my 3rd track I ever did.
The 3rd track you ever did, and gave you international success everywhere, and then you had another follow-up track that was quite successful.
Yeah, so like I did One Day in the end of 2011. It like became like top of the charts in 2012, and then we worked on a follow-up single, and that came out in 2013. I think like beginning of 2013 was My Head Is a Jungle. Mm-hmm. That didn't do as well as One Day, but yeah, like worked really well in the UK. Which is funny because nobody knows One Day in the UK. They only know My Head Is a Jungle. And the other way around, like if you play My Head Is a Jungle in Germany, nobody like...
Interesting.
But like, it's like the differences. It's big.
I remember both tracks very vividly when they came out. So basically from being not well known and also not having too much experience, your life changed in a matter of months. Can you tell us a little bit about how that happened and how it changed your life?
Yeah, how it happened was probably just virality. I don't really know up to this, like how it happened. Like I just uploaded it to SoundCloud, and from there, it just like spread and was posted on YouTube, and labels contacted me, and like it was a bootleg, so it wasn't an official remix. So like it took a while to get the major label involved, and Asaf Avidan, the original writer and singer, had to give his go, and yada yada. It was a complicated process. Lasted about like 6 months, and yeah, I was still studying at the time, so I didn't really have time to. I was in the midst of exams, like what do you say, like Klausurenphase, whatever that is. So I really didn't care too much about what was happening because I still wanted to finish my exams. But after like a couple of months handling my bookings myself and like handling all the like management label stuff myself, was like, okay, let's get an agency and let's get rid of this philosophy studies, whatever. And yeah, after that I toured for about like 6 years straight, 6 to 8 years, with about like, I think in the beginning was like 100 to 120 shows per year, and became less. And then Corona happened, and then yeah, it didn't really go up to that level after Corona or after COVID. But I'm kind of happy about that. So I don't really need 120 shows a year anymore. But yeah, it changed my life completely. I was just like a hard sphere student before that. Yes. um, Living in a squatted house. And then, yeah, I was touring the world, and everybody was like singing the song, and I went to radio stations, I went to BBC, and it was a very stark contrast.
Mm-hmm. And what did that do to you on a more personal level? Let's say contact to your family, your friends, staying in touch with who you are, who you were at home in your home environment. Did that change your self-perception?
I can't say it did. It's hard to say. So much happened in these first 2 years that like my mind kind of. I recall very little of these 2 years because like was just so much happening. Also, I was smoking weed all the time, and you rarely see your friends and family, especially if you're like touring like 3 or 4 gigs a week, and you know that as well. Or like every touring artist knows that you miss all the birthdays, you miss all the anniversaries, you miss all the big things that happen in the lives of your friends, unless you really like, if somebody gets married, like I have to say no to 3 shows, which can be anything from like 3,000 to 15,000 euros. So it has to be like, you have to make a call, of course. And yeah, so you miss out on a lot of social life, but lucky for me, I was still living in a shared flat with my 2 best friends. So I always got back from my touring weekend back to this reality of having to take out the old glass bottles on Monday morning. So like this really kept me grounded. And also like my friends don't really care about dance music. So like I have no DJ friends. So like they all like they're lawyers or they work in I don't know where. So they were happy for me, but they didn't really they got me back onto the ground every time I got back home. It was like, oh, it was nice, yeah, okay, whatever. We have to do this and this now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was it held me anchored. And yeah, I mean, I guess you guys know that too. That friends and family, when you first start out making music and be successful as a musician, they're always like, "Oh, you're going to work," and don't really see that kind of thing as work and being exhausting and stuff like that. And my booker actually was very. He took care that I had somebody with me every time I went on tour. Not necessarily a tour manager, because DJs don't need tour managers. But like I took a friend with me every weekend, or my girlfriend, and every other weekend a friend. And after a weekend of touring, all my friends were like, "Damn, this is exhausting. I don't want to do this again." And I'm like, yeah, like I have 2 days at home, and then I'm flying to Barcelona, and then like yada yada. So it was a great experience for them and for me to show them how this is super exhausting.
Yeah. very interesting because you would think, you know, the people that maybe most support you are the most important ones, but you just stress the fact that it's good to have people who are not so deep into the scene, that you sometimes are able to have a look outside of this world that completely immerses you all the time. What kind of people do you think should we surround ourselves with to stay more grounded or to stay in touch? What kind of people do you think are the best ones as support?
I mean, there's two sides to this. I would say don't trust your party friends too much because I've seen a lot. No, but yeah, don't trust them too much because like Sunday morning at 6 a.m. in some backstage, like everybody's best friend. But come Tuesday, the infamous Tuesday, like things look very different. So I know a lot of people who like went out a lot in their 20s. Like they went to Bar 25 in Berghain, and they had like this super amazing crowd of people around them and friends, and they were like active all the time. And then Bar 25 closed, and none of them spoke to each other ever again. And which is like, it's amazing that clubs and music can do that. Like they can fuse us together, but it doesn't necessarily hold as soon as one of the factors is gone. And but on the other hand, having friends like nightlife friends and party friends can really help with your career. And I'm very privileged that I didn't need that because like I was super lucky with my track. So like I just happened to become successful without having to do the legwork in the beginning, like to go to a club every day and talk to the promoter and the bouncers and the DJs and stuff like that is very important in building a career. I didn't need that, so like my view is very biased.
The pressure of recreating a track like one day must have been immense, right? Because it basically carried your whole career, and then you think in the back of your head, I have to achieve something like this once again. How do you manage to stay motivated still creating music with that sort of pressure in the back of your head?
I don't. No, it was very tough. Of course, you chase that success another time. And to be honest, like now, 13 years later, I think it was almost impossible to recreate what happened with One Day and the success it had. Nevertheless, of course, management, label, and everybody worked on follow-up singles, and we like I always felt the pressure to be as successful, even if you tell yourself, I don't care about the money and everything else. Oh. It's still there. Like you can lie to yourself, but it's still there. And I think I fell into a really deep hole around like 3 years after One Day, 2015. And if I look back at like the music I made back then and the mixes I made, they sound super depressing. But also that is kind of like, I mean, I didn't feel good. Like I had like 3 years of touring nonstop, and the singles weren't performing as well, like that well. So of course you fall into that hole, and that can be great for your music, because if you like, you can just channel different energies into the music. Didn't work for me too well, but I don't really know how. It just like I didn't go to therapy or anything, but at some point it ended, or like I went on to new ventures. I tried new things, possibly because like I have a very like stable relationship and stable like circle of friends. So like there was a base that I always could return to. But yeah, like recreating something like One Day is a pressure that you can't live up to, like you can't really live up to. And at some point, I really like put this in the past and said like, I'm just gonna do whatever now. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but I don't wanna like like measure it to this success. That's my position. Labels always, up to this day, ask, okay, but this doesn't sound like One Day. And I'm like, dude, this is like 15 years ago almost. Can we do something else, please?
I think, Claudia, you can very much relate to the fact having to live up to a certain standard, because your career also broke in 2017, I think, with your first track that got a lot
16,
of
yeah.
2016 that got a lot of virality and also gave your career a big kickstart. And then in 2020, you achieved what most artists are dreaming of, to be signed to a major. You got signed to Warner Music Group. Would you say in this environment where apparently there are a lot of things we can't control and we have to live up to this, that accepting the fact that the music industry is unpredictable is a big benefactor in staying more stable mentally? Is something that is helpful to accept, to just go with acceptance that it's an industry that we can't control, that there's so many factors influencing us.
Yeah, I think that as Corona happens, no one thought about like that kind of this could happen if in the world, you know, that everywhere's a lockdown, everyone has to stop like to work from home and stuff. And at that point, I signed the deal. I never thought about like, okay, I have to like stop working and stop going to clubs. I mean, so much of my fans that I bound with was on the shows, so it was my primary focus to get on the shows and talk to fans and like connect with them, because I had a really strong community at that point. And it was really hard for me at that position just to communicate over the internet and Instagram stories and stuff, because I'm not the type of person who like record itself and talk to the camera. That's not me. I really love to talk in person. So yeah, it was really, really depressing for me to not see them when I bring music out, because I know every artist, when they produce a very good track, they want to test it out in the club and see it works or it works not, and you can like work on some specific parts of the track that works and some not, and you didn't have the chance to like get real feedback from the fans, you know. So it was really, really hard for me that this case happened, and I think it was everyone had to deal with Corona, so it was
Yes,
very hard.
yes. Once again, highlighting the importance of community, having friends as a support, as something that you may have more control over throughout your career than really the success of your career. That's something you don't have so much control on. So it's wise to not rely your mental health, your stability on factors that you can't predict. And then you got signed to the major. You know, everyone dreams of it. Was that the ultimate salvation for you?
I thought so, you know, because for me my career was like at that point at the highest, you know. It was like one success over the other, and that was, you know, everyone like declined my records before, and it was really hard for me to get like to reach out to labels, because they didn't know what kind of music I do. And then at some point Warner Music came and said, okay, we want to make like a record deal with you. And it was for me, I don't know how to say, it was like I was surprised and I was so happy, because I thought, okay, this is the next step to go international and stuff. And they promised so much at that point, but you know, Corona happened, and maybe it would be like different right now, but at that point it was I don't know, I don't know how to say it.
What were some things that they promised you, and what were things that they actually did in the end?
Oh.
They promise everything.
I mean, my first meeting was like, we had a very short list, you know. It was like, I just want to make like very cool remixes, and I wanted like a Spotify editorial, you know. I had like 500K monthly listeners without any editorial, without any Spotify support. So yeah, and they like I had only two things. I came there and nothing happened. I didn't do a remix, and I didn't get an editorial. I mean, I get other cool things. I made music videos around the world. You know, I was in Los Angeles. I was in Dubai. I made like my album trailer in Iceland. It was pretty cool. I loved it, and yeah, I loved the time there. But I think it's very disappointing when you have like yeah, so much. I don't know how to say it. So much hope that they can boost your career so much, but maybe it was a timing because of Corona. I don't know. Maybe there are some other people that are very, I don't know, happy about how they work, but it was not like nothing for me. So I'm very happy to be independent and can do my stuff on my own. So when something don't work out so good, I can make myself the fault, you know, and don't point fingers to the major label. So yeah.
Yeah, so once again, control seems to be the big topic in here. There's a lot of things that we can't control, even though we have a big major label that promises us that we're going to be the next big star, and then they don't do it. And before you got signed, you actually had most things in your own hands, right? I remember you said the first shows, because there wasn't many bookers interested in booking you, you just rented the club yourself, right?
Yeah, it was so funny because we saw in the Spotify charts where the people really listened to my music, and I like communicated very much with my fans, and I know which cities they lived in. So we wrote to the clubs and the promoters that they booked me, and they didn't want it. So I just said, fuck off. I go like rent the club for my own, and we sold it out like in 30 minutes. It was so crazy at that time. And yeah, so sometimes it was like, okay, I can do it better by myself, like pushing release. I mean, the releases I made like before, like with a major, was my best releases, and I made it by myself, you know. It was so proud of it, and it was so disappointing at that point that you have like such a, I don't know how to say it, such a company with so many, such a great network and so much money, and they couldn't do shit, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I want to talk a little bit more about the process of making music, because that's, you know, the creative consistency theme that we should address a little bit. What are some, how did your relationship with music change since you did it professionally?
I saw it like at first just as a hobby, you know. I make like music because I love it. I still love it to make music, and but it was different at that time. I know the first time I get booked like in Munich. I lived before in Ruhrgebiet. I don't know if you know it. Yeah, Bochum.
Yes,
and stuff. Yeah,
I know.
So yeah, and it was so crazy because they booked me, and I told my mom about it. I lived in like in my child room still. I was 19. I had made my trainee, and I told her, hey, I'm booked in Munich, and they like fly me in, you know. And she was like crazy. Hey, what, why? And I didn't know, you know, because it was so crazy because I just made music in my bedroom, and then some people wanted to take photos with me, and I was like, oh my god, I feel like a Backstreet Boy, you know. It was crazy. Yeah, and now it's like the music. I think the music scene changed a little bit, like from 10 years ago to now, because the music is so often changing right now. Every 2 months you have like a new genre. It was like the time before, it was okay, you had EDM, you had techno, you had, I don't know, tech house, and now everything is mixed up and everything is going like so quick when you don't, yeah, and this is really hard for me personally because I do what I love, but you also have to look, okay, what are the people listening in the club? Because when you play like a 120 tune, it's mostly right now not working, you know, so you have to go like a little bit faster so the people can like more connect with you at that point. So it's very hard for me, you know, to still check TikTok, okay, what are the people listening right now, and to put it in my show.
Yes. Are there things you do that make you fall in love with the process over again of making music, or is it generally more difficult now to have that sort of flow state that you used to have when you produced your first songs?
I think I'm more experienced right now, so I know what I do in the studio. Like before, I didn't know what kind of synthesizer are doing what. I mean, in the first tracks I made, I never used a sub bass. You know, like so much successful tracks for me don't have sub bass in the breaks because I didn't know that you have to do it. It was so crazy, you know. And now it's like easier for me to get to make the arrangement and stuff. So I know where I start now to make a good tune, I think. Yeah.
So at the same time, it's also about knowing the process that makes it easier for you. So maybe to never stop learning, to move forward with the creative process, to not fall into the trap of a creative block or something like that.
I mean, everyone has a creative block, you know. It's I think you can't prevent it, but for me, it's like listening to other music to get inspired, to know maybe when you're in the studio and you're in a situation where you don't know where to get or where you want to go. Maybe you remember, okay, this sounded cool. Maybe I can try something like this, chopping vocals and stuff. So this helped me very much to just to remember, okay, what kind of songs I liked personally. How can I use it for me and make it in my own style?
So it's also about looking left and right, because when we're creatively blocked, it's oftentimes because we're hyper-focused on one thing and we want to force something to work. And that's basically where creativity just can't exist, when it's too rigid, when there's no freedom in our head. So taking a step back and getting out of that zone as a helpful step to get out of that creative block. Thank you. Laura, let's get to you. You're known for your very high energy, uplifting tech house sets. You're touring a lot in the United States also, because that seems to be where a lot of the market is for tech house. And this way of playing has gotten you to play at one of the biggest festivals recently, right? Which one was it?
Yeah, I had the honor to play 3 times at Coachella. Yeah, it was very crazy, to be honest. And I expected nothing, and I was overwhelmed.
Yes. So an overall quite positive experience to play at Coachella.
Yes.
And so you're on the road most of the time, right? You're touring a whole lot. Is it possible to have a real routine as a touring artist?
I have a really good routine in how to pack my hand luggage. I'm very good on that. So I don't have really a routine. It's sometimes you work, you know, it's like you're going on tour on Thursday, Friday, and you're coming back on Sunday, Monday, and then you're coming back home, then you have to do your laundry, having meetings, catch up with your management and booking agents and PR and everyone. And and then you have to pack your stuff again.
So you're basically immersed in that all the time, and there's always new things you have to do. So it's not really possible to have a routine at all when you're a touring artist.
No, not really.
Yes.
I try to have some little me time moments, but it's sometimes in summertime it's not really possible.
What do these me time moments look like? What are things that help you stay grounded?
cuddle my cat. And I studied art and design, and I'm still doing art. So I try to paint pictures. I'm still doing it. And yeah, and the most important thing, to find time to call friends or to see friends. Yeah, so this is also a very important point, and it's not easy to handle. But yeah, so but I'm very lucky that I have very good friends around me that understand my lifestyle. I lost a lot of friends during the time, so I have 5 people around me. I'm very grateful that they understand everything, and they're pushing and they're supporting. And hey, it's okay if you don't call me 2 months. It's all right. So, yeah, no, I'm trying to give live updates from time to time, but when I'm, for example, when I'm in the US, I'm out of radar. So I'm like, hey, I'm bye, and when I'm back, you go. Or all my friends, they have me at what is in English, wo ist, on Apple.
Where is the app?
Find me, find my phone or something. So they see where I am at the moment. So they know, okay, she's still alive. She's good. And yeah, so, and also my mom, so she knows where I am and not have to text me every day, where are you? So hey, you can check, and yeah.
Are there some things that you, when you first toured, you didn't do, habits that you've changed, that now you said, okay, I have to change something to survive this kind of lifestyle?
Yeah, I had to learn how to make naps during the day. That it is okay to have a nap on a Monday evening. It's okay. It's not that someone is saying, oh, Laura, it's Monday and you have a nap at 3 p.m. It's, you know, everyone has to work. It's, yeah, it's still in our system, you know. Also the society. So you have to work. It's not okay to have some naps. But yeah, I mean, I need to have naps because I'm working every weekend, and it's okay to have on a Monday to have a nap. But I had to really, it was a long process to do it. And still, it's not easy. It's like, oh, I feel guilty.
But that's the thing you talk about, the guilt, that there's like a societal pressure that you should be working, like you shouldn't take a break now. You're an artist, you have your social media, you have your touring, you have these meetings, you have to make tracks and everything at the same time, so not allowing yourself to relax. Was there something in your mind that changed that made it easier for you to accept it?
Yeah, but one thing to say about that, so our job, is to do everything.
Yes.
You know, we do everything. We do social media, we do content, we do music, we traveling, we have shows, we have meetings, I don't know, we do everything by our own. So this is also a thing. It's crazy. Who is doing that every day? I don't know. It's a very tough job. So it's when people saying to me, "Hey, you're DJ. Can you live from that? So do you earn money, or how is it? Is it a job?" So yeah, I don't live under the bridge, so it's okay. I'm all right. Yeah. So you also have to handle this kind of stuff. But sorry, what was the question again?
That's good content. Good. How do you say, contribution? Yes. The question was, what was the question?
Sorry.
Was there something that changed in your mind that made it easier for you to accept that you can take naps, you can take breaks, you are allowed to do that?
Yeah, I can't rescue everybody on this planet. So I can rescue my followers if they don't like my music. So, and so I can't help people they don't like me. And also when they can't call me every minute, I can't help anyone. So this was a long procedure to understand that sometimes it's okay that someone don't like you, and it's okay that they can't call you, or mad at you, or I don't know. So this is okay.
I think that's a very, very important truth there, because it's about setting boundaries and accepting that you can't do everything, and especially in this sort of business where it's basically a one-man, one-woman show. Sorry to wake up now. My nap from my
From your
nap.
nap.
Yeah. What she's talking about, the naps. Where you're basically responsible for everything at the same time. And I have a couple of statistics just to underline that. University of Westminster found in asking artists, musical professionals, that 60 to 80% of them have suffered from an anxiety or depression once in their lifetime. And the regular population is in some studies up to 30%, but other studies say it's 10 to 20%. So we have like a up to 5-fold higher risk of that happening in musical artists, and makes sense. If you have to do everything at the same time, you're responsible for everything. And then the Berklee College of Music highlights that the pressure to maintain a constant online presence also leads to a lot of digital burnout in musicians. They feel compelled to continuously create content, which results in mental, physical, and emotional exhaustion. And in our pre-talk, you also mentioned, Laura, that you muted your social media channels, and you also don't. You don't accept messages, right?
No, I accept messages, but like I turned off that you see the amount of likes that anything has.
Oh yeah, that
So
was
there's
the thing, yes.
you just see plain content, but yeah.
Yes. Why was that necessary, or what compelled you to do that?
I'm not muting everyone.
Good. Yeah.
No, but sometimes, for me it's very important to focus on my project. So my project is LOVRA, right? So if I see every day, like, this is one for the books, this is the best, that was the best night of my life, and I don't know, all these kind of things happen on social media. And it's okay, I'm doing the same, and it's all right. But for me, if I look too much left and right, I lose the focus on my art. So for my art, it's very, very, it's very important that I'm focused on myself. So this is Circle of LOVRA. And when I see too much crazy things there and crazy things there, and listen to crazy music there and crazy music there, then sometimes I ask myself, oh, I have to do this music. I have to do this music. Oh no, I have to take more video guys with me from every angle. I need, this, oh, maybe I need to do this more to look better and stuff like that. So it's very complicated. And also, the thing is, with major labels or labels, I was also in a major label during Corona, and it was also very complicated. And I'm very happy that I'm also independent now, but also these things, if I see all these label things on social media, then I put pressure on myself to release on these labels. Because if you don't release on this label, then you don't exist on that market. And this is a very big pressure to me. So that's why I muted some stuff. Not everything, but the things that really keeps me under pressure every day.
Yes. Very understandable. Relating to this topic, more of an open question to all of you guys, if you want to chime in. Do you feel you can be fully authentic as an artist on social media, or do you feel like you have to live up to that brand you created?
I think some people are naturally authentic and they can really like do that on social media. I think, but at least for me, and I think most of at least like dance artists, they like it's hard for them to be authentic because they're made to be in a studio or in a basement somewhere. Like we are producers, so like we're basically nerds that are forced to be on stage and dance. So like at least for me. I can manage, and most of them can manage, but it's not our comfort zone. So yeah, like I think being authentic is important, but of course, like jumping onto trends and stuff like that. But I wanted to add something to what you just said, that you mute some stuff that is distracting you from what you wanted to focus on. And of course, it's just exhausting to always compare yourself to everybody's highlight reel. So like everybody's having the night of their lives every day, fireworks and LED screens and whatever. And even if you had a great show that night as well, it's probably not going to be as great as Fisher's show in Adelaide or whatever. So like to shut that out, the comparison. I think it's very important to not go crazy and just like go in every direction instead of the one you want. But for example, because creative consistency, I was struggling with the track the last week, and like I know what I wanted it to feel like, but I didn't really like could get a grasp on what the production side would be like, and I think everybody as an artist knows that imposter, like I should stop making music altogether, like I can't do shit, like this is terrible, whatever. And then I just stumbled, like, it was scrolling through TikTok, stumbled upon like a track that was like if I put the vocal I'm working on this track, this will sound amazing. And I didn't copy the production, but I just like took that track and gave me that little step that I needed for finishing the production on my vocal, not but like the production I did. And so like I wouldn't have come across that without social media and without doom scrolling. So like it has two sides to it. And I don't know. I think you have to be very careful, like to mute stuff, to be focused, but also not mute out all the inspiration that is there. No, I'm not saying that because like I regularly delete Instagram and TikTok from my phone to not like to not have the at my fingertips, have it all the time. But yeah, like to manage this balance from like, I don't want to compare myself to Fisher all day, but I want to see what other people play and what is new, what is fresh. I want to have that influx. Like it's an incredibly difficult balance to have all the time.
Yeah, that's also a very, very important point, to use it more as a tool than to rely on it fully, to use it very controlled. When you need inspiration, that's when you look outside the box and get that inspiration. And then, because we all know there's plenty of studies on it, social media in general makes us unhappy because we compare ourselves, and no one's really safe from doing that, to consume as little as possible, but when we consume, do it controlled.
Yes.
Do you think there's a pressure to be always in a good mood as an artist? Oh.
Yeah, there is no bad day. There's never a bad day if you're on stage. I mean, when I'm on stage, I have no bad day. Well, before and after maybe, but nobody knows. Yeah, so it's at the end, yeah, it's our passion, it's our job, and if you're on stage, it's like, yeah, there's no bad day.
But I think that is especially true for DJs, because if you're like an artist, songwriter, like I just saw recently Girl in Red, who was like really successful like 3 years ago or something like that, and like she posted about she had like got addicted to benzos and like wanted to kill herself and stuff, like really openly on TikTok, and got lots of support. Like I think there is like the subject is getting more getting more attention, but especially for DJs have to be in a good mood all the time. Like just imagine David Guetta telling you about his, like that he has a bad time. I mean, he's totally fine if you would, but like it would be so off-brand. And I think already saying that like it's off-brand for DJs to have a bad day.
And if you're not in a good mood, then it's like, what's wrong with her today?
Yeah, like I can't dance. She's not feeling it.
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah, that's the reality, I guess. Yeah, I mean, depends on like if you're.
It's okay.
Also depends on the music. I mean, we three make kind of happy music, so like if you're doing like really dark techno and only play in dark basements, then nobody can see you cry, I guess.
I love to play in dark places. As I said.
Yeah, so I mean that also goes back to what type of person you are, right? If you're more an introverted person, that's mostly what drew you in was the production process, which is true for a lot of people. And then other people who are more extroverted, they prefer more being on stage, being social. So you kind of also have to see what suits you, right? Who you are and how you can make the most of that. Because I think as an introverted person in the studio, it's very hard for you to always have a happy face out there and try to reel everyone in when that's not your strength that comes from within, right?
I think it would be a very interesting experiment if you would, as an artist or a DJ, play a set and the crowd was really shit, that you post it. I never saw like a DJ post like, okay, I don't know, not Munich. Munich is every time very good. Okay, and now when I say a city, it's like, I never played in Hanover. Would I say would say like, Hanover, you were shit. Why you're doing this to me? No one would do it ever. But it would be a really cool experiment if some DJs would like. Yeah, that was such.
That was not one for the books.
Yeah,
Thanks for nothing.
yeah, definitely. It would be very interesting, I think.
You can go first then, maybe on your next
maybe
one.
maybe don't.
Be authentic. What are some signs? It's more of an open question to everyone. What are some signs you personally watch out for that tells you that your mental health is slipping, or that you need to change something, or you need a break? Okay. All right.
Sorry, no time to talk about mental health anymore.
Okay. Yeah, I think we've talked enough about it, right? Okay. Well then.
Yeah. I mean, do we have like 2 more minutes?
Okay. For questions from the crowd?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Yeah.
Thank you. My question is, you talked about it earlier, that when you're on tour, you miss everything like birthdays, anniversaries. And I'm a student, and I already struggle like to see my friends, girlfriend, family, study, and make music. And I want to ask, how much time do you spend with friends or family? And how do you do it, and how do you manage it? And do you even see them?
I guess it depends on what part of your life you're in right now. I mean, are you from Berlin?
No, I'm not from Berlin.
So yeah, like I'm from Berlin, and like my friends all live in Berlin. My family lives in Berlin, so like that is very easy for me. But I can imagine if you live somewhere else, it's hard enough to see your friends there. I mean,
Yeah, my family lives in Frankfurt. My friends are all over the world, actually. No, my closest friends. Yeah, it's not easy, but we have FaceTime calls, and sometimes they join me to shows. Yeah, so, and sometimes I'm also very grateful for my friends in Berlin that when they say, hey, let's have dinner, and then they're also, you know, kind of like have tough jobs, and they're like, oh yeah, after 2 hours, they're like, I'm getting tired, and I'm like, oh, that's cool, you know. So,
bye-bye.
so you have 2 hours of quality time, and then you go to bed. No, yeah, it's not easy to manage, but you can manage it, and yeah, at least on WhatsApp and FaceTime.
I think I understand your position totally, because when I was like before Corona, it was very, very hard for me to like see my friends and my family, because I didn't live in the city where I, you know, had my friends and stuff. And on the weekends I was touring, so I like had after Corona the time to like, or in Corona the time to like manage it, to call them. And I mean, when you take your time and go like on Wednesday I call my mom, and on Thursday I call my friends, I think that's a very good way to get like to get like a habit to be in contact with your friends and family. I missed like every birthday, every occasion where I could see them, and it was very hard for me because my little cousins were grown up when I met them, like two years after. It was so crazy for me that I worked too much, you know. And when you're a student and you're studying and making music and going on tour, maybe it's too much. You have to like make a habit that you call them when you can't see them, you know.
And I also let them know, you know, if hey, I'm on US tour right now, so now you know. See you in 3-4 weeks, and yeah, so.
Yeah, but I guess like most of this is like, I think it depends on like how much you want to see them. I think this is not that helpful because like it's super subjective to like how many friends you have here or where they live. But I think if you consider it like scheduling it would work, at least for me. I have to schedule, like I have to go into my Google Calendar, my friends have to go into their Google Calendars, and then we have to figure something out to see each other for 2 hours of dinner every 2 weeks.
But even this, sometimes I don't feel for it, you know? When I'm back from tour and I made so much appointments with friends for dinner, and I'm just tired, and I have no social battery anymore. Like, hey, I'm tired, I can't go out tonight. It's also not easy for me to say that to my friends, because of course they're happy to see me. You know, they're waiting for a long time to see me, and then I'm like, oh fuck, I have no social battery anymore. This happens also a lot to me, and sometimes I'm honest and sometimes not.
There was one more question. Not anymore.
Not anymore. Okay. Nice.
Okay.
Everyone is in a good mental health situation. That's very good.
Okay. Well then, thank you so much for your contribution and
Thank you.
for your attention.